That's fucking hard to embrace.
Choose
You're right.
choose your girlfriend like your future child has the deciding vote. Choose your girlfriend like your future child has the deciding vote. The future child does not care how pretty the woman is, cares how steady, how stable, how open, how warm, how caring, how loving, how patient, how virtuous the parent is. If you want to have kids, I mean, think about your future child. Think about that
And I
child
do.
waking up with colic for the fourth time at night. And try and figure out that kid does not care how great that woman's calves look in high heels, doesn't care how many fucking Gucci or Hermes handbags she has, doesn't care how many Dolce & Gabbana shoes she has, doesn't care how nice her hair looks with tinted highlights, doesn't care how well her mascara hangs from her eyelashes, doesn't care whether she has a pimple or not, doesn't care whether her belly is flat, doesn't care whether her boobs sag or not, cares whether the mother's heart is a warm, accessible, open harbor of peace and future foundation of goodness, love, intimacy, and virtue.
I want to convey something else to you. Throughout our entire relationship, I and listening to your podcasts and realizing more and more like the kind of bullshit that I would have to put up with, we broke up multiple times, and then I would explain to her, look, I don't want to be in a relationship with someone who's gonna, have tantrums and do all this, childish BS and try to manipulate me. And my family actually, sat me down and talked to me that, you're kind of being a little beta, Nick. You're letting her, throw tantrums just to get her way, and you made a habit out of letting her do that. And so I broke up with her. It's followed by a bunch of crying and apologies, and then that behavior completely ceases. But then I progress further, and I realize that she she's not in control of other aspects of her personality. And I tell her I want to break up with her, and then crying and apologies, and then those same behaviors cease. And the last conversation that we had was the childhood one, and immediately after I told her that I wanted to end the relationship for good, she broke down, started crying, and now she's having conversations with her mother about her childhood and says that she's making really great progress, and that there hasn't been yelling around the house. And I I want to definitely believe that it's genuine, because I've seen progress. All the other times that I've sat her down and told her, look, I don't want to be in a relationship with you if you're going to exemplify these behaviors. And she says that she's growing again. But I think that the kind of healing process that needs to take place is one that would take a long time, because she fundamentally lacks a lot of self-knowledge that like, and I clearly do too. I'm not saying I'm a paragon of perfection by any means, but she never once said the idea that you presented, that she can be independent from her mother if she really wants to. She can remove herself from that toxic environment. She just kind of wants to heal the relationship and kind of work with her mother, I guess. So what are your thoughts on the apology immediately following the threat of divorce, and actually successfully working to fix some of the behaviors?
Well, I mean, would she be a friend if she was a guy? Would she be somebody you were
If she were
thoroughly
a male,
invested in
would she?
making? If she was a man, if she was a man. If she was a man and she had her emotional characteristics, family and history and temper and dysfunctional mom and aggression, you said she was aggressive in your relationship and yelling. If she was a man, would she be your friend?
Never.
Then fuck her.
Wow.
No, seriously, fuck her. Do you know what an insult you are handing out to good women around the world by prostrating yourself before this dysfunctional TNA instead of going out and finding a great woman? It's so insulting. It's literally like, a lot of the guys get mad because of hypergamy, and the women want to trade up, and it's like, well, they only want rich guys, they want tall guys, they want good looking guys. It's like, no, the men, the MGTOW guys, the frustrated guys who are angry at women, no, you're doing the same thing. Find the woman who would be your friend if she had balls. Who you'd be like, I want this person in my life. She's strong, she's funny, she's insightful, she's curious, she's self-knowledgeable, she's into lifelong learning, she's wise, it makes me laugh, she's, a great dancer, whatever. But don't put two nutsacks in front of your eyeballs and thinking you're seeing virtue. If she was a man, would you be invested in her possible recovery from dysfunction that's only happening because you were throwing her off the bus called you? No.
That's so crazy to think about. My brain is spinning in circles because for the longest time she's been my best friend, and I've really closed myself off to a lot of other people who have been in my life.
She's your best friend?
Don't cringe.
She's your what? She's been your best friend?
Literally for the last year. Yeah. And
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this.
Ask away.
How have your other relationships been doing while dating this woman?
I've distanced myself from really all of my closest friends, dropped off with a lot of people who I was very close with, hanging out on a regular basis with in high school.
Why?
And
why?
Because I've invested so much time and energy into her.
No, come on. That's not why. The reason, oh my God, you got to see this. Oh, Nick, I'm sorry to be so blunt. I really am. But, I'm happy to help someone out of a well who has, I can't just say climb out of the well if you don't have arms. I got to come in and push you out, right? The reason why
Do it.
She has cut you off from your friends is because your friends would tell you how crazy she is. Right?
I've thought about that.
Of course you have.
You're right.
Any woman who starts to separate you from your friends is doing so because she wants you to be in her private show of crazy without anyone saying, that's a private show of crazy.
And
the quality of your future relationship is measured by the continuation of your existing friendships, right? The quality of your future relationship with your girlfriend is measured by the continuation of quality relationships that you already had. Your wife, your girlfriend, the woman you meet, she wants you to have friendships in the same way that sane people welcome competition. Insane people hate competition. Greedy, evil, nasty, dysfunctional people, they all flock to the state. They hate the market. Why does she want to have you focus only on her? Why does she not want your friends seeing your relationship? Because it's abusive. Abuse and isolation are the same thing.
Right. And every time that we've ever, broken up for those brief stints of times, all the way up to a week, she's always said, don't tell anyone, whatever you do, because, that's our business. That's our business.
Your business? And what do you taking dumps on each other?
That's bullshit.
Your business. I mean, what are you saying? Kinky German sex dungeon? Well, what she's basically saying is, don't tell people that we've broken up so that I can get back together with you, so that nobody knows about these interruptions, and nobody's going to say to you, are you kidding me? You just broke up with this woman 3 times in 4 months. Oh, fuck, just take the Band-Aid off, man. Stop circling the drain. Put a bullet in it, stick a fork in it, turn it over, it's done.
You're right. God damn it. Wow. Being blunt is so exactly what I need. and I really
I try to give
really
all the listeners
appreciate
what I
that.
think they need. I try to, I know you can handle it. I know you can take it. And the reason I know you can take it is I'm not telling you, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, and B, I'm not telling you anything that your friends and family haven't told you. Like they're saying you're being the beta, blah, 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 right? But do not let women separate you from your friendships. Now, that having been said, if you have dysfunctional friendships, dysfunctional family relationships, a relationship with a great woman is going to put those seriously into question because you just won't be able to go back to eating shit burgers when you've had sirloin, right? But that's not her, like that's just her being a quality person, right? I mean, when I finally got at the, like in my 30s, what it actually meant for someone to love me, which I didn't know. I didn't even know that I didn't know. When I finally understood what it was like for someone to love me, like I went back to these old relationships and it was like, ugh, like, oh, yuck. I didn't even know that I lived in a shanty town till I spent a month in a palace. So, but if a dysfunctional woman is separating you from your friends, I mean, we all know those people. It can be men or women that they get into relationships and they fucking teleport. It's like, shimmer, Scotty, beam me up. They're gone, right? And they're just like face to face in 400 count Egyptian cotton sheet sex tents. And they just gone, right? You say, oh, can we get together Friday? No. Sally's, we're doing something with Sally. Can we do something together? No, she really wants a romantic couples night. And that's nothing, right? But it's like every time. She's like, me, need me, I need you. I gotta, she might as well just suck you back up the vagina and throw you in the womb again, right? Isolated, separate. The estrogen moat has now sealed off the man. Why is she afraid of the man having contact with other men? Because then they're like, hey, let's switch the light on. Whoa, crazy town. You probably don't even notice it because you've got your head in Vagina Town. But when you take your head out of Vagina Town, it's Crazy Town. She doesn't want that view, right?
Right. Steph?
Nick?
Jasmine? Trying to talk to him now.
Wait, is that her? Are you kidding me?
That's her?
Are you not, really? Are you talking to me with her in the background, really?
Yeah.
What, is she listening?
Jasmine.
Is there anything she wants to add? Anything she wants to talk about? I don't mind if she wants to come and chat with me. She can tell me I'm full of crap or nonsense or terrible or whatever, right? Or she can say, great.
Would you like to talk to him? Sure. She would.
All right.
One moment.
Yeah. Hello.
Was it Jasmine? Hi, Jasmine, are you on?
Yes.
You sound upset. What's up?
I mean, I was just upstairs and I've been hearing all these lies about me. And all these
told by
lies
Nick?
he's been telling me, and yes.
What's he been lying about?
Like, I mean, he showed me your video about the traumatic stuff that happens when you're a child, and I get what you were saying, but I mean, the only traumatic thing that's even happened to me was my mother screamed at me and called me lazy. Like, what kid hasn't that happened to? I mean, I've gotten screamed at by my mother, but
Well, do you want me to ask
you didn't
questions,
even
or are
know
you
me
just
when I
gonna
was that old.
wait? Do you want me to like ask you questions, or are you just gonna tell me stuff?
Like, I mean, sure. What questions do you want to ask?
Well, Jasmine, how were you disciplined as a child? Like when you did something that your mom didn't like, what happened?
I mean, it depends what it was. If it was like a bad grade on a report card when I was like really little, I'd get like a spanking and stuff. And then when I got older
How
and I
little?
was
How
like
little?
10 and
Sorry,
11
to,
and 12,
yeah, okay, so spanking when you were little,
like
10, 11, 12,
five or
what?
yeah, and then I'd get my phone taken away.
Okay. Well, hang on. So when
Like a
you,
lot
sorry to
of
interrupt,
children
but
have gotten spanked.
so? I mean, is that something you knew when you were a child? It's you and your mom. You don't have statistical averages. You know, when a baby is 6 months old and they're hungry, they don't say, well, there are starving children in India, so I shouldn't really need any boob milk, should I? Right? They just know that they're hungry. So how old were you when you were spanked? Do you remember?
I mean, yeah, I was like 6 or 7.
Or 7? Were you not spanked before the age of 6 or 7?
Not really, and it was light. Like I could barely feel it. It was just mainly the
Okay,
fact that a belt
Jasmine,
was coming near
Jasmine,
me, but
Jasmine, I'm afraid you have summoned my fog
yes.
noise. Yes, I'm sorry about that. Do you want to know what it sounds like? It sounds like. You ever, like, they these fog noises, right? And the reason is that when you say, I asked you if you were spanked before 6, 7, and you said not really. Right? And that's a yes/no thing, right? I didn't say beaten. I didn't say were you thrown downstairs or, clubbed with a harpoon, right? Or an oar. I mean, you were spanked before 6 or 7, right?
I mean, I don't know the specific ages, but that that's really not a big deal. It hasn't traumatized me like Nick's saying, and I guess hearing Nick talk
Nick,
about our
no, hey, whoa, whoa, whoa,
relationship
whoa,
and
whoa,
all this
whoa,
stuff he
whoa, hey,
said.
hey, hey, hey. Nick didn't say anything about you being spanked.
No, I know. I heard him talking about our relationship and all this crazy stuff,
Oh, no,
and
yeah,
I
but
don't know what you
listen,
were
listen.
saying. Like,
No, but you said like the spanking didn't traumatize me, like Nick said, but Nick didn't say anything about you being spanked or traumatized because of spanking, right? So I just like if you want
I
to
know
if you want to say that he shouldn't lie, then you should be accurate too, right? That's fair, right? I don't mean this in a mean way. I mean, but that's not
I
what he
mean,
said.
yeah, he said that to me, not on the station. When he talks to me, it's a lot different than when he's saying stuff to you. So, I mean,
Okay,
I
okay,
just hearing
all
all
right.
this for the first time.
How often were you spanked?
Not often.
That's not an answer, right? How often were you spanked? I mean, daily,
I
weekly,
mean,
monthly,
why
once
is
a
it
year?
why is it about why is it about being spanked? The issue is me and Nick's relationship and him calling in asking for relationship advice. It's nothing to do with my past. Like,
Wait, how you relate to people has nothing to do with your past? That's like saying the language I speak has nothing to do with how I was raised. You speak English because you were raised English. Of course it has something to do with it. Doesn't mean it dominates or it's the only thing, but of course it means has something to do with it, right? So how often were you spanked? Look, and you don't have to answer anything. You don't have to talk to me at all. But I would appreciate it. I mean, this is anonymous. I mean, nobody knows who you are. But how often were you spanked?
I mean, Nick's about to show this to all of his friends and family, and they do know who I am. And it's not fair to say him talking, saying my mother's verbally abused me for many years and all this stuff about me where everybody can know, yes, no, this isn't right. It's not right.
Well,
There's
so
nothing right about that. You
do you
shouldn't be
want to not
showing
talk to me then?
people.
Wait, okay, there's a lot in what you said. Well, first of all, Nick, if you're still there, are you going to show this to all your friends and family and say this is exactly who this is?
Yeah, he says he has. You just told me you said you were going to show it to your family. This is my business, and you twisted all the words I've told you
Okay,
about my
well, you guys
life.
can I just wanted to know that part. So is it my understanding that you don't want to answer how often you were spanked?
Do you think getting spanked is wrong? I'm just asking you a question.
Do I think that hitting children is wrong? Yeah, of course I do.
Getting spanked?
But no, getting spanked is not wrong. You're a victim, right? That's like some guy jumps out of the alley and cracks me in the side of the head. what the guy does is wrong. It's not wrong for me to get hit. I'm the victim, right? You're the victim in spanking, and yes, it's wrong to spank. It is a violation of the non-aggression principle. It's not self-defense. Do you know that 30% of moms admit to hitting their babies over the last month? 80% of British moms hit their babies. I'm not saying your mom did, but yeah, that's completely wrong. It is damaging to the child. It is damaging to emotional development. It is damaging to one's relationship with authority. And you know what is so terrible about it? Is that every time you hit a child, you're not negotiating with the child. You're not learning about the child. If you did badly on a test, the job of the parent is to find out why, to ask questions, and to take some ownership for the fact that it's the parent's job to get you ready for school. If you have a test, it's the parent's job to make sure you know the material and to understand it and to do well in the test. And if you fail on the test, it's not some isolated failure of yours. It is a failure of the family system and the parents primarily, and the teachers to some degree. But to just hit a child when the child does something you don't like, not only does it harm the child, and this has been very well documented and analyzed and understood psychologically, it's very clear. There's almost no, it's way clearer than smoking and lung disease, lung cancers, and so on. So yes, to hit a child is morally wrong, and it's practically wrong, and it's bad parenting. And there's almost no parenting expert who's not a fundamentalist Christian or Jewish or Islamic parent. There's no parenting expert that I've ever, and I've interviewed many of them on the show. I've read dozens of books. There's no parenting expert who says spanking is a good idea. Spanking is a very bad idea, because not only does it harm the child, but it prevents the negotiation from occurring. I have been a stay-at-home dad for 5.5 years. I have never raised my voice to my daughter, never yelled at her. I have never hit her. I've never threatened her. I've never punished her. We negotiate. We talk reasonably, and it's beautiful. This is perfectly how it should be, and she's an incredible joy to be around, and we have fantastic days together. And how could I hit her? She did not here by choice. She didn't choose me as a dad. She didn't choose this household or this country to grow up in. She's here by my choice, and she's a prisoner of biology. She can't get up and leave. I hit my wife, she can get up and leave me. She can call the cops. My daughter can't do anything. She calls the cops, and as long as I haven't punched her in the face, I'm off scot-free. So that's sort of the brief thing around spanking. So yes, it's not my opinion. It is traumatic to children. It is very difficult for children, and you have grown up without the ability to easily and productively negotiate for your needs, because that wasn't modeled and that wasn't how your mom dealt with you when you were a child. I'm not saying she never negotiated with you, but if when push came to shove, she pulled down your panties and hit you on the butt, or whatever she did, then you don't have that experience of negotiating your needs. So when there's a conflict, you get very tense, right? Your fight or flight mechanism kicks in. You can't think straight. You get very emotional when there's a conflict, because when there was a conflict with your mom, she hit you. And she was like 5 times your size when you were little, right? I mean this with sympathy. I'm not saying you're like a damaged goods or a bad person. I'm saying that, let's say you were hit
that
once a week.
And you're telling Nick he needs to leave me. That's exactly what you're telling me. You're telling Nick he needs to get out of this, in air quotes, toxic environment. He needs to separate himself. He needs to get far away from me. Everybody in his life does. That's exactly what you're saying.
I told him that he has to leave you?
Yes, that's what you've been telling him. And, whatever it is you're saying, he loves listening to you. He's brainwashed, and he will do whatever you tell him. So when you tell him to leave me,
lady,
I'm gone forever.
Hang on. No. I am not letting you talk. I am not your boyfriend. You don't get to talk to me like that. You got no hold over me. I'm a happily married man. I don't care how good you look. You do not get to talk to me like that. I am talking to you with science and evidence and sympathy, and then you're attacking me and saying that your boyfriend is brainwashed? That is incredibly...
You've been attacking.
How do you get to talk to people like that? Well, what gives you the right to talk to? Have I insulted you? I've been very empathetic and sympathetic towards you. I've asked you how you're doing. I'm asking you questions about your childhood. I'm giving you sympathy for the effects of it. Where do you get off talking to me like that? And I know exactly where you get off, which is that you were raised by a woman who, when there was a conflict, she got aggressive. And now there's a conflict between you and I, or Nick and I, or Nick and you and I, or something like that, and you're getting aggressive, right? And then you say to me, well, what could the past possibly have anything to do with the present? This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is exactly how the past has to do with the present. This is what you were taught to do, both empirically by how your mom interacted with you, and intellectually. This is what you were taught to do in a conflict, was to get emotional and escalate and become aggressive, right? So of course it has a huge effect on you.
I mean,
this is as learned as the fact that we're both
but,
speaking English.
Just saying, it seems to be only happening when I'm talking with narrow-minded or judgmental people. Like,
well, you would,
people who only see it one way,
right there,
it's
right?
black or white.
Well, hang on. First of all, you're being narrow-minded and judgmental, because I'm telling you that with sympathy that this comes from your history, and you're just rejecting it all, and you're the one who's being judgmental. I've not judged you as a bad person. In fact, I've explicitly said, I won't put up with the aggression, but I've explicitly said, you're not damaged goods, doesn't make you a bad person. I've said you're a victim in how you were treated as a child, or to be hit by a caregiver is to be victimized. So you're the one who's being judgmental. You used the term brainwashed, right? Is that not a judgmental term?
I mean, it's the truth.
Oh, so it's not judgmental if it's true. So why would you want to be with a guy who's brainwashed? Who's so mentally weak that he just is the influence of whoever, like me, some guy podcasting on the internet. Why would you want to? What's this prize of this wonderful guy whose brain is so empty that it gets filled up by whoever happens to be around? I mean, you can't love someone who's that susceptible and that empty-headed that they're brainwashed, right?
That's actually not true. That's you being judgmental by saying I couldn't love somebody like that. And we're not together, because he is listening and taking your advice. And he even has said that's why we're not together, because he's seen your videos.
Wait a minute. Sorry to interrupt you. I'm sorry to interrupt you. But you said that I was telling him to break up with you, but you're not together. Did he break up with you during the conversation? I didn't hear that. I mean, I talked for a bit. Maybe he muted and broke up with you during the conversation. But how is it logically possible for me to be telling him to break up with you when you're already broken up?
We were working on things and it was going to be fine, but I knew after this conversation, I asked him, well, what if he's saying that we shouldn't be together? And he told me if he thinks that it's not right and he tells me that, then I'm really going to look into that and it probably won't work out. And I knew that's what you would say, something along those lines. I didn't say you'd say it exactly. I know you haven't said leave her forever, but I knew it would be something hinting at that in a subtle way. And
so you're just walking away from this logical contradiction with a bunch of verbiage, right? Okay. Look, I mean, if you don't want to talk to me, that's fine, but I don't particularly want to talk with you at this level,
I feel
right?
like
This
I'm
is
being
very
attacked.
primitive, right?
Yes,
no, you're attacking.
I feel like
Look, don't you play the victim card with me, young lady. You are the one doing the attacking. You are using brainwashed and you are accusing me of things and you are being hostile. Don't play the victim card with me. Don't give me this best defense is a good offense nonsense, right? I have not attacked you. I've actually been very sympathetic to where you're coming from. I'm sorry?
She's left.
Yeah, well, I'm not shocked, to be honest with you. I'm not shocked at all.
I am.
So you kind of didn't tell me she was in the room, right? So she's not the only one being manipulative here, right?
Well, I actually had asked her to stay in the attic, because I have a really nice spacious attic. I told her that I wanted to be isolated throughout this conversation.
What are you, Hannibal Lecter? Get in the attic, woman. I'm talking to another man here. Did you tell me that she might be listening, or that she might be listening in, or that she was in the house, all right? Because I thought we were having a private conversation here, right?
I apologize, man. I expected her not to actually come in during the middle of it crying. I expected
how
her to,
is
respect my
because
wish
she?
to give me the isolation so that I could speak with her afterwards,
Oh
after
God,
having the
could you please give
conversation
me a little bit
being
more
completed.
self-knowledge than that? Come on, you needed her to hear this. Don't give me this. I thought she would give me the. You know how you get your space? She's not in the house. That's how you get your space. I mean, do you live with the woman?
No, I don't.
You don't live with her. So she's over
I
at your
don't.
house while you're broken up, when you're talking to a guy about your relationship, and you think this is accidental? Do you think what you're doing is just an accident? You needed me to talk to her.
There's
You
no
needed her
possible
to
way that
listen
it
to
could be.
this, right? Come on.
I
I'm not
did,
blaming you.
honestly.
I'm not,
Yeah, and
right?
that's why I was trying to. No, that's why I tried to expose her to some of your ideas in the form of video, and she just actually spoke with you. Wow. And she's
Like
complaining
you,
that,
you want me,
you got your
you
wish.
want me to break up with her, and I'm not
Like
even
it was somehow
dating her,
you that
right?
No, no, no. Like she's saying that, you got your wish as though it was somehow you who initialized this conversation when I weeks ago organized it with a. Like, why can't I? I'm just too flabbergasted. Michael.
No, look, you needed,
Yeah.
right? Do you remember how I was saying that the women who isolate men from other men don't want to be seen for dysfunctional, right? Now, she's not an evil person. I'm not saying she's all dysfunctional, all that. But in her interactions with me, there's no winning, right? I mean, I don't know if you heard my side of it, but I think you could agree that I was curious and empathetic and right, blah, 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 right? Giving her the facts and saying she was a victim in this situation and so on, right? And she was having none of it, right?
Right.
She attacked, she cried, she played the victim, just, was not, there was no connection, there was no listening on her part, right? She was basically just waiting until she could say something inflammatory or insulting or whatever it was, right?
That's true. Wow.
And then when the
she's actually
conversation became
rambling the phone
difficult,
behind.
in other words, when she couldn't get away with stuff that didn't make sense with me, and I wasn't attacking her or anything, right? Then she ran away from the conversation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I ran because I felt like I was being attacked.
And
Because I was being attacked.
Yeah, no,
you weren't.
she's feeling like
You
she's being attacked, but when she listens back, she will realize that she's the only one who was doing the attacking, and then she plays the victim card, right? This is not healthy behavior. And, I mean, obviously, lots of difficulties in history. As I pointed out with her, I was trying to empathize with her, saying, but this is what, as far as I understood, that you got from your mom, that your mom was aggressive in terms of conflict, and this is not someone to have a productive conversation with when there's a conflict. She's got her full flight, my guess, right? The full amygdala fight or flight mechanism is up, the neofrontal cortex is shut down, and it's win-lose, right? And it's say whatever you can say to win in the moment. It's escalate, it's insult, it's reject any kind of empathy, it's blah, 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 right?
Right. Holy cow. Holy cow. Holy cow. There's
Now,
no
my
way
question
to
is,
to
how is
live
this not visible to you? What about your mom? When we talk about her mom, what about your mom? How is this not visible to you? I mean this sympathetically. I'm not saying like it's bad or
she
dumb or anything, but
I don't know. I've been going to therapy for months, and I need to definitely, absolutely bring this conversation up and drill it, and fucking meditate about it and think about it, because I actually got sat down by my parents. Like I said, they actually told me, these are big red flags. Literally, she used the same terminology that you do, because my mother's a very emotionally intelligent person who made this, readily available to me. That, yeah, this is a bad course that you're going down, Nicholas, and I chose to reject it
right.
because I
And
was in
now
love
you're right. Did your parents have these kinds of interactions with the woman? Like I just said.
with with her. No, no, none whatsoever. Nothing that directly, I'll say, confrontational.
Right. So look, I mean, it's up to you, right?
No, you're not evil.
No, listen, if you're
Yeah.
going to talk to her, I'm going to not talk to you.
I'm sorry.
Right? Because I'm not sitting here watching you guys natter back and forth, right? Look, are you broken up?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Are you broken up
Yeah,
at the
we're done.
moment? Were you broken up at the beginning of this call?
Yeah.
Have I brainwashed you?
Yes.
Well, good. Mission accomplished.
No, you've taught me how to
because
think.
that just means clean. A wash is clean, right? And it removes the dirt and the grit, right? But no, I mean, if you're broken up, then why is she over? I mean, how big is your penis?
I can.
What? You're a brainwashed guy, and she loves you, and she's insulting you, and she's insulting me, who's talking with you, but she oh my God. Anyway, I don't think we can chat particularly with you. Obviously distracted, right? So I mean, I would say go chat with the fine lady and talk about whatever you want to talk about with her. But I don't think we can continue this particular conversation.
Steph, you've been tremendously helpful in so many ways.
I appreciate that.
Helping me.
Probably not as helpful as Jasmine's been.
And thank you for taking the chance to speak with her.
Yes, and do tell her
I hope that you did.
Do tell her that
entirely.
Yeah, no, it's not negative, and do tell her I'm incredibly sorry. I really am sorry that we didn't have a better conversation. Right, I really am, and I can certainly understand, because I didn't know she was listening, that she would be antagonized by some of the stuff that was going on in our conversation, right? I get that. I understand that. I really am sorry that we didn't have a more productive conversation. It certainly was not my goal to attack her or whatever, but sometimes when people bring up uncomfortable truths, parental alter egos move in, and then you feel threatened. It's the parents who feel threatened. It's the parental relationship that feels threatened. But if you've ego identified too much with the mom, it feels like you're being threatened, and then you feel legitimate in attacking because it feels like self-defense and it feels legitimate and so on. So I'm sorry that we didn't have a chance to chat. If she goes to therapy, if she ever wants to call in and chat, I'm certainly happy to chat with her again. And I really am incredibly sorry for everything that happened to her emotionally as a child that has put her into this particular situation. She has a make or break time in her life, right? She has a makeup, but you have a choice. You have a choice. You can either continue to do this stuff with the escalation and the rejection of empathy and sympathy and a lack of examination about the past and explaining things away with nonsensical things and using insulting terms and then playing victim and all. Like, you can do all of that, and there's plenty of people who will join in that macabre dance with you and will do all of these things to reinforce it, and you were you're so wronged, and I can't believe he's they're all people who will fuel this fire in your life, and because you're very pretty, you'll never be short of people who will want to do this silly dance with you. But there is another kind of world out there. There is a better world out there where you can have disagreements and conflicts with people without name calling, without escalation, without all of that sort of stuff. And